Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, these general readings are literally that. It's a general overview of the energies, trends and themes that we're all likely to be experiencing over the week ahead, and kind of, if I dare say so, an intuitive motivational message from yours truly. With that said, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share. If you should so choose and this resonates, hit the subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So for the intuitive message this week, we have taking time to fit all the pieces. So what I actually saw was what looked like a bunny or a hare, and it was kind of gearing up to run, but before it did that, it came up onto its haunches and then it started to put its ears up. There was like a whole process of things that had to be put in place before this thing shot off like a rabbit, right? And that's the message that I took away from this. Like, whatever it is that you're working on at this moment in time, take the time to put the pieces in the right places. If you know, it's like kind of like, you know, when you see people getting ready to run a race, they say like, on your ready, you know, get ready, set, go. Like you go through, they go through stages of getting themselves into that point before they can take off, right? So this week, take a moment to consider, are all the pieces that you need in place? If not, what is it that you need to do more of? What is it that you need to give more juice to? What is it that you need to give more time, energy and effort to? And more importantly, do you have your sequencing right? Remember, sometimes it's not necessarily about what we have to work with. It's about the sequence that we put things in, right? So if you're considering like, even like with a jigsaw, people always say start with the corners and work your way in, right? Why? Because you can see those pieces and it gives you a piece, it gives you kind of like a frame, a reference frame, a frame of reference, gosh, in some way, shape or form. So this week, take time to consider, are all the pieces in the right places? And if not, where is it that you need to take more time with something? For our destiny card and the overarching energy trend or theme for the week, this week we have, the moon card, right? So, I mean, at this point, Mercury is definitely well and truly into his energy of the retrograde, right? So we're all going to be feeling this at this point, and that whole sort of foggy element, you know, in the mind is definitely going to be hanging around. And the fact that we've got the moon card as the destiny card this week, not everything is as it appears, right? So this is not a week to take anything for granted, but it's also not a week to take anything at face value. You're going to need to dig beneath the surface. You're going to need to consider, so whatever it is that you have as a plan that you might be ready to move on, a final check, a double check may also be needed and or relevant. Now, we don't stop living just because a planet is retrograde, right? Because otherwise we'd literally never get anything done. But consider that this is a time maybe of opportunity. Maybe it's a time to go back over something. Maybe it's a time to restart or renegotiate something. It's not just about hold-ups, challenges and poor communication. Sometimes it gives you a chance to readdress something with different, fresh perspectives, or with understandings that you've gained in the time, you know, since the thing in question was brought up. So don't see it just as like a holdback or a challenge. Maybe try to look at it from the opposite perspective and say, okay, you know, like they say, adversity is just an opportunity disguised, right? So this week, find a way to look for it. But like I said, don't take anything at face value, not when the moon card is in close proximity. How do we best utilize, navigate or steer clear of that moon card energy this week? For the direction, how do we use it or not use it or sidestep it, as the case may be that we need to? Well, with the Eight of Pentacles, this week you want to be really conscious with the way that you're behaving at work, with the conversation and the communication that's taking place at work. Something that maybe you think is a frivolous throwaway comment could end up being taken out of complete or all proportion, so consider that. We got the Six of Cups, which is beautiful. This actually, I think, bodes very well. So I know here in the UK, because of the whole pandemic situation, we had a furlough scheme. I've got this sneaking suspicion that furlough's either going to be extended or the fallout from it is going to be very different to what we are expecting. And then we've got the Knight of Swords. So this week, some of you may be tempted to jump ship in some way, shape or form. And this set of cards basically says, stay put, because there's some developments on their way in that you are as yet unaware of. So steer clear, all right? This is not a week for rash decisions. I mean, it's never a week for rash decisions, but this week, just be mindful of that. Now, with the Six of Cups, that is the past. The Moon card has a past energy about it as well. So in a lot of ways, this could be something that comes up through an old colleague, through an old peer, through somebody that you used to work with or reconnecting with. Because the Moon card is there, I would be very wary of any reconnections at this moment in time. Examine them, absolutely. Take them on board, listen to what people have to say. But because that Moon card is there in the Destiny energy, it does suggest that if you are reconnecting with someone this week, it could either be short-lived, because what looks shiny now, eventually you'll realize is just a piece of brass, not a piece of gold. So just be aware of that. And the Knight of Swords there is basically saying, don't rush in, right? This is not the week to make rash decisions by any stretch. For the insight cards, what may be going on behind the scenes that we are not privy to or aware of, or what energy might be coming in that we need to be aware of at the moment. We got the Temperance card. We got the Strength card. Wow. All right. And we've got the Two of Swords. So this week, there are going to be fresh developments on the wider world stage. Now, for some of you, I know you probably heard recently Nicki Minaj, who is a rapper, for those of you that don't know, spoke out against the whole vaccination thing and how she wanted to do more research and whatnot. I think we're going to see a lot more of that kind of thing over the course of this week. And I do feel like this week we could see a heightening of certain types of energies and conversations on the wider world stage. That Temperance card suggests that it might be very easy to get sucked into this, especially with the Strength card there, because it's gonna be about those visceral things, right? So whatever comes up in the media, whatever comes up on social media, is going to be speaking directly to that instinctual level of all of us. And you may find this week that it's harder. Like, you know, usually I do it all the time. I see things, I start writing these massive paragraphs about what I think and what I feel, and then I just delete it. And I'm like, no, every so often something will get you, and it will, and you know, before you know it, you've hit send. This week, be very conscious of that, because whatever you get drawn into may end up going on for longer than you expected, especially with the Two of Swords here, right? Because the Two of Swords, yes, it's psychic, and yes, it's, you know, choice and partnership and all the rest of it, but the Two of Swords, out of all of the twos in the tarot, most likely the energy of opposition, right? So this week you really do need to take time to consider what you're allowing yourself to be sucked into by allowing someone or something that someone said or whatever getting you in that instinctual, visceral sort of place. It's, you know, this is going to be a week where we see probably some very extreme words or reactions to things in the social media sphere. Right, so this week I would just be really conscious that you're not one in a chorus of voices that appear to be losing their proverbial shit over, and I'm not saying that it's over stuff that doesn't matter. I'm saying that it's stuff that is likely not going to matter a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, but you may still be held accountable for, right? As we've seen the way that things work in this current era. So this week, be very, very conscious about what you allow yourself to be sucked into. That being said, this is not a week to allow yourself to be berated, bullied, or coerced in any way, shape, or form. All right, with that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up, what you think, what you feel. Take care, and I'll see you soon.